Hello, Void. I just taught my first 60-minute class, which sounds like the normal amount of time a yoga class should be, but what I had been teaching before this was the studio's like 45-minute express version of a yoga plus core class. So today I had to sub for somebody and I taught the 60-minute version, which 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but I was just telling my mom this. 15 minutes is a long time when you're like a participant in the class. If the class is really hard, and my classes are really freaking hard, those 15 minutes can feel like eternity. And then on the flip side, for me, when I'm putting the class together, it's a lot of space to fill. The reason I chose to start with this class is the combination of it being yoga and core made it easier for me to like plan. Because my whole problem with starting this journey of teaching has been this feeling that like every time I've tried to like start putting a class together, it's like my brain freezes up and just completely stops working. And anything I've ever known about the subject completely melts away. And I just feel dumb. I'm like, how the hell are people all over the world putting together these plans? Some people teach without even having a plan. They're just good at picking moves out of their mental Rolodex and just doing everything on the fly, which is insane. I cannot imagine doing that, especially right now. Maybe with a couple years of experience, maybe after I teach 100 classes or something, but right now, I do not feel like I could do that. And I've met like people that work at the studio who, this one girl told me how she was like working the front desk, the instructor didn't show up, and the manager asked if she could jump in and teach the class, and she did. Like the class started 2 minutes ago, and this girl who's never taught a class ever just goes to class as a participant all the time. I was like, sure, I'll teach deep stretch and relaxation. Not the most complicated class, like that's available to take, but it's not nothing. Like 60 minutes of stretches, even though they're slower, is a lot. I don't think I'd be able to do that right now. And when I got hired at the studio, I was offered 3 classes and I cut it down to one. I asked them if they would let me start with one and build my way up. The reason I picked this class is it's the express version would be like 15 minutes of the yoga part and then 15 minutes of the core part. And having 2 separate sections like that made it feel way more manageable. So it's like I'm having a really hard time planning the yoga, but it's only 15 minutes versus 60. And then same thing with the fitness, the core part, it's 15 minutes instead of like 60 minutes of core. And it just felt manageable. So to go from a 45-minute class to a 60-minute class, now the yoga part needs to be 25 minutes and the core part needs to be 25 minutes. So I tried to like plug in some more stuff into each section, but I knew that it would mostly come down to me and my direction and how fast I was going. Last week, I don't know what possessed me, but I went through the yoga section psychotically fast, had to add 10 extra minutes to the core section, and the only thing I could think of doing in the moment was adding a bunch of plank stuff. I like planking. I think a plank is a cool place to be because you cannot disassociate in a plank. When you are in plank position, you are here. You are in your living room or in the yoga studio on your mat, not anywhere else in a daydream, in the present, in the future, in another universe. No, you are here because it hurts. And because of my affinity for planks, I've actually become pretty good at them. And it's just like become my like go-to thing in my own personal workouts. So when I realized I was going way too fast, I added a bunch of plank sets and I think I killed everybody in the room. I don't mean to make my classes so hard, but I realize my strength has built up a lot, and these it's like I plan the class at the studio. Okay, in actual yoga teacher training and in Pilates teacher training, they tell you how eventually you should be able to get to a point where you look around the room, you look at the participants, you if you happen to talk to anybody who's coming to your class and they ask for like a specific body part, or if they tell you like a specific restriction or something that they have, an accommodation that they need, you should be able to modify your class plan or modify the class on the fly for them. And that's valid. You're here for your students. The problem is I am nowhere near good enough, knowledgeable enough, practiced enough to be able to change my class plan from what I had like planned before the class. So, like, if everyone in the room had a broken leg, sorry, we're still gonna do the class plan that I planned for somebody without a broken leg before the class earlier that day. So I looked around the room and I could just tell from the way people were like holding themselves or sitting. I could just tell that this room was going to have a really hard time doing this class. And I was saying, like, I don't mean to make my classes hard, but I try to make classes that like I would like doing, and I've now come to realize they're pretty tough. But again, like I'm having like a hard time putting classes together and thinking of moves, and like I'm sure I could make it easier, but I'm not there right now. So, yeah. I was nervous all day. Like I knew that I couldn't go fast like last week because this time I needed my yoga and core section to be like double the length of what they usually are. And so I was trying really hard to like pace myself but be true to the yoga part. The yoga portion is a vinyasa, and vinyasa, I forget what vinyasa means, but I think it's like something like you're constantly moving. It's not slow. It's a pretty like active form of yoga, and that's why I personally like it. But like I was trying really hard today to do one breath per movement in order to like pace myself correctly. And it went pretty well. Like definitely the class was really hard for the people that had come, and thankfully I was able to stretch everything out to the appropriate time and meet the 60 minutes. Because you can't end early because people will get pissed. They paid for this class, they expect to be 60 minutes. Why would you end early? But you also can't let it run too late because, the front desk person's trying to go home. There might be another class after you. There wasn't today, but it could be. And, people have things to do and they're trying to leave. So it was good. I before class I always get so nervous and wonder why I even want to like do this and why I'm like torturing myself, and this like anger of doing hard things, like I'm tired of it. But then teaching is probably one of the most mindful things I've ever done. Like I'm so nervous, I'm so scared, I'm in like performance basically, that I'm not dissociating. It's like plank. There's nowhere you can be but there. Like I could never, like I don't know, it would be crazy to get to a level where I'm teaching on autopilot. Like I don't have to like think really hard about what I'm doing, and then like I'm so practiced at teaching, and like I know the moves so well that Like, I can be talking and teaching, but in my head thinking about my groceries. I cannot imagine that happening, but right now, especially, like, I am here. I am fully listening to and fully aware, not fully listening to, I'm fully, like, I'm speaking with awareness, is what I'm trying to say. I'm following the first pillar of self esteem and the six pillars to a T. I am living extremely cautiously. And it's kind of nice because I may come across in my regular life as a really happy go lucky person. And, people are always surprised when I say, like, I have a lot of mental problems, but I do. And I've just gotten really good at living with them. So it's nice to, usually, like, I'll be talking to someone and half my brain is thinking about some other shit, ruminating, trying to fight a compulsion. But it's cool because in this, like, while I'm teaching for that hour, I'm not thinking of anything but teaching. Like, my full brain is on this one task. And even though I'm, like, physically exhausted, emotionally and mentally, I actually feel a lot better. And then after the class, I get this huge adrenaline spike and, like, liveliness I haven't felt in a while. So in that way, it's been really cool. But it wasn't so bad. This was my fifth class that I've ever taught, and I think it's been good. I've honestly been teaching the same sequence every single week. I change it a tiny bit. I add things in here and there, but for the most part, it's the exact same sequence. And I don't know if anyone's complained about it yet, or if anyone's noticed, but I try really hard to. I just realized, like, my energy needs to go elsewhere. Like, my energy should go to practicing. Like, I'm trying really hard to be better, but one of the ways I can do that is by controlling some of the variables. And this variable is coming up the class plan, which is actually an advice I got from a friend of mine who started teaching yoga a couple years ago. They said that they wish they just taught the same class every week and people won't likely notice. So that is what I lived by. I am scared for the day that the manager messages me and tells me that someone called my class repetitive or someone hates what I did, this and that, but I think I would feel better if I got to a standard where I knew I was undeniably good. So that if anyone complained about me or gave me a bad review, I could look at it way more objectively because I would have a higher self-esteem. But that's just not where I'm at right now. Overall, good class. I think my first and second class were my best. My third and fourth class were meh, and then this one would go in between. So it would be like 1/2, class number 5, and then class number 4, and then class number 3, very last. So I'm supposed to teach again my regular slot Monday morning, and then back to our regular schedule, hopefully, once a week. Actually, no, next week I'm subbing for another class Monday morning, and this is the first class I'm doing that's not yoga and core. This class is called Rise and Shine. So I don't know if I need to be, like, slower. Honestly, like, I'm gonna have to come up with a whole new plan for that, and in 60 minutes. I think I'm taking somebody else's Rise and Shine, like, on Saturday, just so I can get, like, a feel for it. And oh my goodness, my music. I need to be way more mindful and, like, I need to put more energy into coming up with playlists because that's, like, another thing I've been avoiding, and I think it could do a lot better. Like, all the songs could flow into each other better. All of the freaking songs need to be, like, songs and not, like, music videos. I wish YouTube had, like, a fade out button, but they don't. I just need to be more intentional. Like, I haven't put a lot of effort in the music, and I think it shows. And I don't like JoJo, who's, like, this other teacher. she never has like a hiccup with her music. Like she's so perfect. Like I really look up to her. So yeah, I hope to be a JoJo one day.